How can we have confidence in a government whose ambition is limited to its own survival? A government that defines success as not being in as much of a mess as the United States. You know, Stephen Harper has been Prime Minister for 4 years. So you should ask yourself, are we better off than we were 4 years ago? Is our economy stronger? Our health care better? Our voice in the world more resonant? The answer, my friends, is no. How can we support a government that is so smugly satisfied with achieving so little? We need to get this economy growing again. Mere recovery isn't going to be good enough. But what recovery we've seen comes down to you, to the resilience of Canadians, and not to the performance of this government. They can't take the credit. They don't deserve it. We need to take a hard look at ourselves and ask, where is our country going? What's the game plan in a game where the rules are changing? Canadian workers know they're not just living through a temporary downturn. We're in the middle of a global restructuring of our economy. Mr. Harper doesn't get this, but Canadians do get it. Many of the things that we've sold aren't what the world wants to buy anymore, and many of the jobs we're losing just aren't coming back. Canada's economy is entering uncharted waters. The global stimulus package put enough public investment into the world's economy to pull demand forward by a year. But that public investment is temporary, and it's going to wind down as country after country hits the deficit wall. And when they do, the private sector has to be ready to provide jobs for Canadians. And that's why we need a plan for growth beyond recovery. That's why we can't just be thinking about how to get out of the hole we're in. We've got to figure out how to hit the ground running fast once we climb out. And achieving that growth is where the difference between Liberals and Conservatives plays out. Liberals believe growth won't happen on its own, that you can't grow our economy without a government that leads. Back in July, after the G8 summit in Italy, Mr. Harper gave an interview to the Globe and Mail in which he said, and I quote, "I don't believe that any taxes are good taxes." Think about that for a moment. We pay taxes, Mr. Harper, so that premature infants get nursing care when they're born, so that policemen will be there to keep our streets safe, and so that we have teachers to give our kids a good education. We pay taxes, Mr. Harper, because we're in this together. It costs us something, but it makes Canada a place where we look out for each other. But Stephen Harper doesn't think that way. Stephen Harper doesn't think that any taxes are good taxes because he believes the only good government is no darn government at all. And Liberals say no. We don't believe in big government, but we do believe in good government. And if we give up Thank you. And if we give up on good government, the way Mr. Harper has, then we may cease to exist as one great people sharing one great country, and Liberals will never let that happen. That's the difference between us and them. That's the difference between Stephen Harper and me. His is an ideology of the past, an ideology that's contemptuous of anyone who sees government as a means to do good. It's an ideology that vaporized the day Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy a year ago. When Wall Street crashed, even the most ardent free marketeers turned to government to save the free market. The last year has proved government's value as the guarantor of risk of last resort in the capitalist system. The last year blew Stephen Harper's ideology out of the water, and he's the last person who realizes it. Liberals believe in good government, and Canadians believe in good government. You can't get growth without good government, but growth alone is not enough. Canadians want their economy to grow again so that we can be the just and compassionate society we want to be. And let's be honest with each other. We're not as just or as compassionate as we could be. We still have promises to keep. Last week in Ottawa, I met a man who's suffering from ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. It's debilitating, it's tragic, and it's terminal. His wife came with him, and they told me that under the EI system, she can only access 6 weeks of benefit for compassionate leave to look after the man she loves. 6 weeks of compassionate leave with a fatal illness. Is that the best that Canada can do? We have just got to find the resources, the growth in our economy, so we can keep our promises to people like that loving wife who represent the best of us. Recession must not make us mean. It must not divide Canada into two, into haves and have-nots. We got a lot of work to do. A Liberal government will grow our economy so we can invest in national early learning and childcare for every Canadian child. A Liberal government will grow our economy so we can improve our healthcare system with a national strategy for health promotion. And so we can help our seniors age with dignity by securing pensions and strengthening the guaranteed income supplement. That's why we need growth, so that every Aboriginal Canadian gets a world-class, not a second-class education, so that every new Canadian is empowered to build and serve our country, and so every farmer can make a decent living and hand their farm on to their children. And as we near our country's 150th birthday in 2017, it's just around the corner, we can build a prosperous, compassionate Canada, proud of our achievements and ready to take on the world and win. We can do better.